We pulling?
What's up, I'm Jimfro, and this is our Mythic Guide to Algeth'ar Academy. If you want to see a full run-through of the dungeon, check out the Discord link below. We'll go over the bosses first, and then any notable trash at the end. Alright, so before you go to the first boss, you're gonna jump down into the courtyard and talk to one of the dragons to get a free buff. Bronze will give you haste, blue will give you mastery, green makes you get healed for more, black gives you some crit, and red gives you verse. After you get your buff, you can go left to Vexamus or straight ahead to the Overgrown Ancient. Most groups go to the Ancient first, so let's start there. The Overgrown Ancient is a big tree that only comes alive when the surrounding trash is cleared. Once the fight starts, you'll want to stay stacked on your tank because the boss spawns a bunch of swirlies under your feet that create little ads. Try not to get hit by the circles, but also try to stay stacked together for cleave. These ads need to die super fast because when burst forth goes off, all the ads come alive and put a massive stacking poison dot on the tank. Anyone with a poison cleanse needs to cleanse the tank when their stacks get high. The Ancient also puts a bigger circle on the ground that spawns a bigger ad that needs to be killed. Have a kick ready to interrupt this one when it casts, and when it dies, another circle will appear, but this time it's green and you need to stand inside of it to clear the stacking dot from burst forth. And then the fight just loops after that. Once the Ancient dies, you can go forward and jump your way to the platform with the big Guardian Sentry ad. Go north and you'll be at Crawth's platform. You'll know you're in the right spot when you see some Quidditch posts on each side. Clear the ads and then you can spawn the boss by picking up the glowing balls on the ground and using your extra action button here. This is a pretty cute tutorial for the main mechanic of the boss fight. Crawth does some standard rating 101 mechanics, but the first big mechanic is Deafening Screech. This does some damage, and if you're casting when it goes off, it interrupts you too. The Screech also gives you a debuff, increasing your damage taken by the next cast, and you can reset this debuff by throwing the glowing balls into one of the goalposts. There's two different posts, fire and wind. It doesn't really matter which one you throw them into first, but all three need to go into the same one to trigger the mechanic. Just make sure everyone knows which one you're going with before you pull, or just ping one once they spawn during the fight. Now, if you activate the fire goal, Crawth becomes stunned for 12 seconds and takes 75% more damage. After the stun wears off, you have fire tornadoes to dodge for the rest of the fight. The wind goal will push you around in different directions, as well as spawn some wind tornadoes, which can get a bit annoying. However, to help you out are Gale Force orbs around the room. Picking these up gives you a huge haste buff and gives you a ton of movement speed, making moving around way more tolerable. I'd suggest activating the wind goal first when you reach 3 stacks of Deafening Screech, using the orbs to make the fight easier, and then when you reach 3 stacks of Deafening Screech again, activate the fire goal post, picking up orbs for the haste buff during the big damage amp, and hopefully some CDs to try and finish her off before it gets too chaotic. After Crawth, you can jump back to the platform from before and go right this time. This path will lead you to Vexamus. Again, you'll need to clear all of the trash in this area to spawn the boss. Vexamus is a pretty simple boss. The main mechanic here is arcane orbs. These float toward the boss and you need to run into the orbs before they reach the boss. Each orb you soak gives you a stacking debuff, so unless you're the tank or you have a major defensive rolling, stick to one orb at a time. Healers can dispel the debuff to let players grab a second orb if you need to. If an orb ever reaches the boss, he'll gain 20 energy, which is really bad because when he hits 100 energy, he does a massive hit to the whole group, so the fewer orbs he eats, the better. When Vexamus puts a circle on you, just take it to the edge of the room and drop your puddle. That's it, just soak orbs, drop puddles away, and don't die. Amen. The last boss is up the stairs from where the Ancient was. So walk all the way over there and fight your way into the building where Echo of Doragosa is. This boss is interesting in that the fight revolves around stacks of overwhelming power. This is a buff that actually increases your damage done, and you gain a stack whenever you're hit by any of her mechanics. At 2 stacks, you'll be doing big damage, but once you get a 3rd stack, you'll lose all of your stacks and drop a permanent puddle on the ground that occasionally shoots out these orbs that will pretty much one-shot you if you get hit by it. That's the main mechanic, but the other mechanics that give you stacks are Energy Bomb, which is a circle that goes out on a random player that explodes after a few seconds. Arcane Missiles is just random player damage. And the tank has Astral Blast to deal with, which is just a big hit of that arcane damage. At 100 energy, the boss sucks everyone in and starts casting within a circle, and you need to run out of the circle before it explodes. Those are all the bosses, but there's a few notable trash mobs that you should know about as well. After the Overgrown Ancient, there's a Guardian Sentry on the platform before the next boss. You just need to be outside of the big circle, but if your tank is a cool guy, she'll tank him near a pillar, and melee can LOS without needing to run so far away. Then on your way to Crawth, there's these sneaky little alpha eagles that do a frontal that's impossible to see and will one-shot you if you're hit by it. Vexamus has a ton of casters to worry about, so try not to pull more than you can handle. The Vicious Ravagers will jump to the farthest player and do a huge channeled frontal cast that can be baited away and then dodged. And tanks need to be careful with the Spellbound Battle Axes. They apply a super deadly bleed that stacks. And the award for the most difficult trash in the dungeon has to go to the Algeth'ar Echo Knights before the last boss. They cast Arcane Smash that'll instantly chunk the entire group for half your health, and sometimes you're pulling 2 or 3 of these at the same time, which is super scary for the healer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the dungeon. If you want to see an extended guide of us running through the dungeon where we talk about every pull and every boss as we go through, check out the Patreon links below. Peace.